But I got a bunch of questions.
Then you're welcome.
Thank you. I got some questions for you. As I watched that, you had mentioned at the beginning that your lawyer, Brian Friedman, who you and Tucker shared, was the one who convinced you to reach out to Tucker. Can you say anything more about the conversations that you had with Tucker that led to this actually happening?
Yeah, of course. So Brian is an extraordinary individual. He is as much kind of life coach as he is litigator. I wouldn't want to go against him that way, but he's an incredible guy. And he said, you know, as part of your healing from this, you're so angry at so many different people, and you're angry at yourself, and you're angry at this guy, and there's you've got to just start relating to the pain and moving on for the pain. And when Tucker got fired, he said, I need you to do something for me. I said, anything. He said, call Tucker Carlson. And I was like, yeah, right. You know, what do you need? And he said, I need you to call Tucker Carlson. There are very few guys who know what it's like to take the kind of hit that he just took. And I said, well, our situations were pretty different. He goes, it's not as different as you think. He was totally shocked that someone he thought he trusted and who cared about him fired him. It's like, all right. So I called him. When I talked to him, I was so shocked by the stuff he told me about I don't do social media, I don't have a television, so I don't really follow how it's going on. I was blown away by that because I thought the reason that he was so acidic is because he's playing to the feedback mechanism on social media, but I was wrong. He just does it organically. He likes to do that crap he does. So then, once I started talking to him, I understood how important it was for him to be different than he had been before. I really believe that Tucker knows that the way he did things wasn't best for the highest good. And I don't know that he's going to change, but I think that he understands what that is. And we had conversations about the game and how much we both hate the system of party politics and how it forces us into this feedback loop that you love calling out so often about how it only works for them and that our people are supposed to be taking care of us and getting a free pass by just fomenting division. And we would talk about that a lot. And we also talked about what his family had been through, which was very relatable and made me, so he invited me to have a conversation. And I said, you know, I still kind of want to hurt you half the time I'm talking to you. You know, I was like, the irony is he doesn't like Jeff Zucker, who, you know, Dan and I both know very well, who fired me. And I said, you know, you can not like Jeff Zucker, fine, but know this. Jeff Zucker would never let me go after you. Never. He told me every time, we're not about that. You're not about that. It does nothing for you. If you don't like him, be different. I said, so your boy Zucker kind of saved your ass.
Well, but that brings me to my next question is, was it hard to sit there? I mean, we played just a fraction of the insults that Tucker has, you know, thrown at you over the years.
Killed me.
Right? I mean, but very personal insults.
Yeah, killed me.
So was it hard for you to sit there and talk to him, you know, sort of as a compadres?
Oh, first of all, we ain't compadres, okay? We're not. I don't agree with most of his philosophical underpinning for what he's about and why he does what he does. I don't agree with it. It doesn't mean that he needs to go to hell and that I should see him as a mortal enemy to constantly be attacked the way he attacked me all the time. But I'll tell you what, something else. I would have never done that when I was at CNN. I was not personally equipped to process something that pissed me off the way I am now. I have been changed because of what I had to learn to deal with. And it's given me different sensibilities about what matters and what doesn't.
You asked Tucker at one point about his philosophy, and you said, you know, all the people I talk to who know you say you've changed. I'm one of those people, I'll tell you. I have been a long Tucker Carlson advocate. Back in the day, I was one of his biggest, he knows this, that I was one of his biggest advocates to get him a show, get him on the air, et cetera.
I am not.
All right, I was. Now, it does feel to me like he's changed. And I do wonder whether, and this is the ultimate question that I get asked, does he believe all the stuff that he says, right? When he says to you, I was worried when I came back from my interview with Putin that I was going to get arrested by the U.S. government. Does he actually believe that stuff?
Yeah, maybe if his circle's as small as he says it is. If his circle's as small as he says he is, if he is not any more skeptical or curious about his own ideas, a trait that you and I share. You and I are constantly wondering where the weakness is. What am I missing? Why is this not the consensus? You're the same way. He is not. And for instance, there is no reason to believe that the FBI had anything to do with fomenting the tensions on January 6th. There is no reason to believe that there is any evidence that there was ballot stuffing in Georgia. Just because you want it to be true, such that you then decide to say, well, you can't believe the government, you can't believe any of these things, they all lie, that's where it becomes just a dirty game. And he still uses that mechanism.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.